The first sign that it wasn't over came that night. The winds howled through the village, fierce and unrelenting, shaking the trees and rattling the roofs of houses. Kem stood at the doorway of the family compound, staring into the darkness. The air was heavy, pressing against his chest, and the shadows seemed alive, shifting and stretching as though waiting for something or someone. A low, guttural voice broke through the wind, sending chills down Kem's spine. "You think you are free? You think you can defy me?" Kem staggered back, his heart pounding. He turned to his grandfather, who was sitting by the fire, his hands trembling as he clutched a rosary. "Grandfather, do you hear that?" Chief Oyira raised his eyes, fear etched deep in his weathered face. "It's angry," he whispered. "The shrine, it won't let us go so easily." Before Kem could respond, the ground beneath them rumbled, a low vibration that grew stronger with each passing second. Villagers outside cried out in panic, and Kem ran to the courtyard, where the crowd had gathered, their faces pale with fear. "The idol is punishing us," someone shouted. "No," the preacher's voice rang out, strong and clear as he stepped forward. "It's not punishment, it's fear. The darkness is lashing out because its hold has been broken. Stand firm." But standing firm was easier said than done. As the preacher began to pray, a sudden gust of wind extinguished every lantern and fire in the compound, plunging the village into darkness. Kem could barely see, but he felt the presence around them, cold, oppressive, and furious. The idol's voice returned, louder now, its tone sharp and menacing. "You will suffer for your defiance. I will take everything from you." A scream pierced the air as one of the villagers collapsed, clutching their chest. Others backed away, their murmurs rising in fear. Kem's legs felt weak, but he clenched his fists, forcing himself to stand. He turned to the preacher, who was kneeling in the center of the courtyard, his voice steady as he prayed. The storm grew worse, lightning flashing across the sky, illuminating the towering figure of the idol in the shrine. The grotesque statue seemed larger than before, its hollow eyes glowing faintly in the darkness. Kem's breath caught as he realized it wasn't just a statue, it was moving, its wooden limbs creaking as it bent forward. The villagers screamed and scattered, but Kem stayed rooted to the spot. He felt an icy fear clawing at his chest, but something stronger held him in place, the memory of the preacher's words. "Fear is the weapon of darkness, but light exposes its lies." With trembling hands, Kem reached for the Bible the preacher had given him. His voice shook as he began to recite a psalm, his words barely audible at first but growing louder with each line. "The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life, of whom shall I be afraid?" The idol roared, a deep, guttural sound that seemed to shake the earth itself. But Kem didn't stop. He kept reciting, his voice steadying with each word. The preacher joined him, his powerful voice echoing through the courtyard, and one by one, the villagers stopped running and began to pray. The air seemed to shift, the oppressive weight lifting slightly as the prayers grew louder. The idol's movement slowed, its glowing eyes flickering like a dying flame. Kem stepped forward, his Bible clutched tightly in his hand, his heart pounding with a mixture of fear and courage. "You have no power here," he shouted, his voice echoing through the courtyard. "You are nothing but lies and fear, and we will not bow to you anymore." The idol let out one final roar before collapsing in on itself, its wooden body splintering into pieces. The storm ceased abruptly, and the silence that followed was deafening. The villagers stared in shock as the pieces of the idol lay scattered on the ground, the once imposing figure reduced to rubble. Chief Oyira fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. "It's over," he whispered. "The shrine is no more." The preacher placed a hand on Kem's shoulder, his eyes filled with pride. "You stood firm," he said. "You exposed the lies and reclaimed your family's freedom." Kem looked around at the villagers, their faces filled with a mixture of awe and relief. The shadows that had loomed over them for generations were finally gone. But Kem knew there was still work to be done. The scars of fear and bondage would take time to heal, but for the first time in his life, he felt hope.